Hello and welcome to the International Pentagon Challenge. My name is Kyanite and together we'll be embarking on a very special Football Manager journey where we'll aim to try and win every major international competition in all 5 continents, forcing our hand to play with hundreds of different types of players and most importantly hopefully create loads of awesome different types of tactics along the way. Once that's complete, only then are we allowed to set our sights on the biggest of all goals, the FIFA World Cup. How many nations will we have to manage until we work our way to the top? How many dodgy names will we have to pronounce along the way? So hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hopefully we're going to have a lot of fun along the way. Okay, hello everyone and welcome to episode 71 of the International Pentagon Challenge. Here we are, literally, potentially moments away from our second continent complete. And as you can probably guess, Nigeria and Egypt are in Africa. And after a first failed attempt at the AFCON Cup of Nations, we might be able to finally tick it off our list if we can win this final today. We're up against Nigeria, a very tired Nigerian side who are missing 1 or 2 key players in areas because of suspensions and injuries as well. Whilst on the other hand, us, the only real player we miss is Amr Siem, our left back, because he obviously got sent off in the semi-final where we beat Morocco 2-1. So in terms of how we're going to be looking to play, we're going to be looking to play with a standard mentality. We're going to look to retain possession and build up until the second half. By then, I'm kind of hoping that this Nigerian side will be completely, wiped out because they had to go play extra time and go all the way to penalties in their quarterfinal and their semi-final. So that's why they've got a lot of injuries, and that's why, players physically aren't that good. Now you look at some of their players, and some of their players play in leagues I've never even heard of. So fair play to Nigeria for making it to the final, but we should really, really, really be winning this game. In terms of, us attacking, I don't want to overcomplicate it. We have the extra man in midfield, we have the extra quality. If El Sayed and Ramsey play the way they can play and keep feeding Saeed, who's got 10 goals so far this tournament, then I have no doubt that we can win the game by half time, if we take our chances. We've got to be careful with the 2 up front because Akechu has scored a lot of goals so far at this tournament, but the only main issue for us is we don't know much about this Nigerian side, only that they play for teams I've never even heard of, so you'd assume they're not great, but one thing I can guarantee you they will be is pacey. Okay, so team instruction wise, standard mentality, both wingers on attack doing the man marking, shenanigans, fairly narrow width, retaining possession with a normal defensive line. And as always, tweak as we go along. So here we have it then. Nigeria versus Egypt. African Cup of Nations 2031 Grand Final. Here goes nothing. So I'm really hoping the fact that, we have the inverted wing back who is going to be going central, and the fact that we have the extra man centrally midfield anyways is going to be the element that helps us retain possession in midfield. What we've got to be careful of is them on the counter-attack with the 2 strikers up front and them counter-attacking like they just tried to do there. So El Sayed taking on his fullback wins us a corner early on. Now one thing that really worries me is the fact that Nigeria apparently have scored 5 corners so far at this tournament. So make of that what you will, and we've conceded 2 out of the 4 goals we've conceded this entire tournament. So it is really, really important that we stay awake from set pieces. There's only so much you can do defensively on this game from set pieces when your players aren't necessarily that great physically like we are, but it is what it is. Now I feel like we'd benefit from being a little bit wider here, from making the pitch a little bit bigger, so I'm going to change our width to fairly wide, see if we can kind of open more channels up, not just for Saeed up front, but to get our wingers on the ball a little bit better as well. And there we go, the goalkeeper messes it up. Nwababoueze gives the ball to Ramsey, and Ramsey just slots it home. And there we go, out of all the players to score the first goal of the grand final of the 2031 AFCON, it is Adil Ramsey. A bit of a mistake from the Nigerian goalkeeper, but I tell you what, guys, we will take it. And hopefully we can really build on that. And the way we're currently set up right now, the way we're trying to play a possession-orientated game while still being productive going forwards, will hopefully suit that. Commentator did mention that the Nigerians are putting a little less emphasis on defending. So hopefully, while that means they're going to be pouring more men forwards, the fact that we are playing wider, the fact that we have midfielders who can play passes out wide like that into space, will mean that we will get another opportunity before half-time to hopefully find ourselves 2-0 up. And that was unfortunate there for Mohamed Kamal. Would have been a bit ironic if we'd scored from a corner after I spent so long saying Nigeria have scored loads of goals from corners so far this tournament. They're able to keep possession in their own half, but to be fair, they don't really scare me when they keep possession in their own half like that, because they're just going to eventually try and play direct ball towards the front too, because they don't really have runners in terms of the wingers or the fullbacks getting involved to actually move them further up the pitch. So I'm fine with that. And based on early evidence and the fact that we know for a fact that they are a lot more tired than we are, it doesn't actually seem too much like their strikers have caused our centre-backs too many problems. Granted, our centre-backs are pretty old and, they've started this game on like 80% each, but they do have the 3 midfielders in front of them to win the ball back for him like that, and that's a lovely ball from Ramadan. And if Saeed can find someone in the box here, find Sunday, if he did find someone, one of the Mazzalas making a late run into the box, that could have been 2. Ramsey, Saeed once again, the absolute heart of this Egyptian side, really leading us to victory, not just with goals, but in link-up play and everything. Has been our player of the AFCON so far. Probably our worst player in my first AFCON managing Egypt, but in the exact same role now, a little bit older, a little bit more mature, has been honestly phenomenal. You could say old is gold in his case, because for strikers, you often think, they're young, they're energetic and whatnot, but I did mention it coming into this tournament that while a lot of our players are the same players we had that flopped at the previous AFCON tournament, they're now more experienced, they're now slightly improved, they've been there, done it, close to getting the t-shirt, and now they're going to be hungry to make sure they can make amends, and that's certainly what we've done really, really well this tournament. And I mean, I don't want to jinx it, but one thing we've also done well this tournament, yes, we've scored plenty of goals, but also thanks to some solid defending. And I think bringing Mohamed Kamal back out of retirement has really helped us as far as defending is concerned. Disappointed that Shouty, he is told to be a bit more, take more risks with his passes, so it would have been nice to see him try and play the left winger. How on earth have we given him a corner there? Bloody hell. Concentrate, boys. Concentrate.
A few moments later.
Heads in the game. Don't give the Nigerians corners. We've fucking discussed this. We've discussed this. I think it's that their first shot on target as well. If you've ever seen flimsy defending, that's why I didn't want to say it. I was praising our defensive performance so far this tournament in general. I was like, well, the only main goals we conceded are that weird Hassan Bande goal against Burkina Faso, and then the corner, and then this happens. And the worst part is that it didn't happen from the corner, but it happened from a corner-esque scenario where they just bloody crossed it in. I think the goalkeeper should have come and commanded it a little bit better. It's not good enough now. We need to. Can we do what we did against the Moroccans, a sneak one just before half-time? Udo to Sunday, passes to Monday. No, I'm just kidding. On your head, Khalifa, or maybe not, Ramadan to Shauki. Lovely ball to Ramsey. There's a finish. There it isn't. No. Tackle from the defender. Such a soft goal for us to concede. So aggressive team talk, not pleased with what we've seen so far. Question now is, what do we change? In a way, it feels like we don't really need to change much, to be honest. Hassan Saeed's on a 6.4, I actually think he's had a pretty good game from what I've seen of him. I am worried about how tired our back four is, though. It's just a case, do we make a change? Do we bring on some fresh legs? If we do, who is it that we bring on? It's a very, very difficult decision to make, but I think because I think some of these come up now once we start the second half a little bit, and then we can look to make changes from there on. I don't really feel like we've played poorly. I don't feel like we need to make too many changes in terms of how we've played. I think we could even afford to really raise our defensive line a little bit more and pressure them more that way. I think one thing I will do is up our tempo a little bit, because we are capable of playing at higher tempo and they are going to be tiring. So hopefully maybe that might help us in terms of how we're looking to play. So Ramadan, it's important we use that third person in midfield, and play the ball between the lines. That's why we've got the Mazzalas who look to drift out wide in areas as well. Especially up against these, two defensive midfielders looking to protect the two centre-backs the Nigerians have. Other than that one chance they had that was derived from the corner, which was the main kind of opportunity from which they scored their goal with, they honestly have not even knocked on our door, whilst we've been constantly pounding it. I think as the game progresses, we might have to start taking off man-marking duties from our wingers or moving them further up the pitch to try and see if for God's sake, if they can... I've given them a corner. To see if they can get involved a lot more. Because right now, as legs are tiring... Oh, go on. They're starting to pick the ball up, and it's a little easy... Too easy for them, for my liking, based on what I've seen so far. This has to be the finish, and this is the goal. That's a goal from Mohamed Shouty. What a counter-attack that was. Oh my God, that was phenomenal. Like, I don't mean to blow our own trumpet here, but that counter-attack was actually dirty. That counter-attack was dirty. Okay, we need to wake up now, because they've been hoofing some of these long balls forwards, and it really has been causing us problems. So I think one way to fix that would be to kind of get Kamal to be a little bit more static. He could drop into a back three as the game progresses, but I don't want to really do too much of that just yet. In terms of other changes we could do, Abdul Rauf is looking a bit tired. I don't want him going forward. Just stay back on defend and give us that bit of stability. El Sayed can drop onto support, and we'll leave things like that. So we're approaching the 65th minute, and now, you're starting to reach squeaky bum time where you probably do need to start bringing on fresh legs. In a way, I don't want Saeed to come off. El Sayed's had a good game, but you know what? I'm going to do something that we kind of experimented with in the build-up to this tournament, which was actually playing Saeed as a bit of an inside forward, being left-footed, and then bringing on Rida Hamdi. Now, Rida Hamdi is a complete forward. On support, will come back, help us kind of retain ball possession as well. And I'll bring on another midfielder, in this case in the form of Hussam, who'll play as a ball-winning midfielder on defend, just to give us that extra bit of defensive stability. So here we go, Ramadan. Kamal picks the ball up. He's playing a little bit deeper now that he's changed to an anchor man, which is what we want. Saeed, though, that was a bit of a waste. They do bring on a veteran winger, whatever that means. And we tell the lads to concentrate. Ibrahim throws the ball straight to Ramsey, but unfortunately Ramsey gives the ball back to Obi-Wan Kenobi. Hussam, though, picks the ball up. And there's a lot of red shirts here that could potentially go forwards. I think maybe now we might benefit from being a little bit narrower now that we're looking to retain possession a little bit better. Oh, hello. How was that a clean tackle? He went in with 2 feet there. I swear he went in with 2 feet. Anyways, get rid. Nice stuff. Can Saeed maybe beat the offside trap here? Or Hamdi, I think he tried to, but just didn't quite manage to do it there in the end. The top of my head's chopped off. Lovely jubbly. Okay, we got tired legs. I think we saw at points there Kamal struggling. So Mustafa, you've not played much this tournament. Don't let me down, bro. Do not let me down. He's got good morale and all that jazz, so do not let me down. And that's it really in terms of the 3 substitutions we can make. Is there anything else we can do? We can drop our tempo a little bit, and like I said, we can drop our width. Tell the lads to be a little bit more disciplined as well, and not necessarily look for the overlap. But that does slow things down when you do have that selected, so we are going to go with that. As the game progresses, we'll do what we do best and continue to tweak. Farouk to Shouty to Ramsey, Hussein with the header, Kamal with the shot, and we win a corner. So we should now have, there we go, at least 3 people back. I don't know if you caught the person just off screen there. At least 3 people back for the corner. So hopefully that means we won't see any silly counter-attacks from the Nigerians coming to fruition. Can never be too careful in this kind of counter-attacking based system with the 2 pacey strikers up front. Okay, so 10 minutes to go. We're keeping the ball well. You can see that extra ball-winning midfielder in Hussam has kind of given us our own carbon copy almost of their 2 kind of holding central defensive midfielders. Hamdi to Farouk. Lovely ball to Ramsey. And Saeed will win it for the Egyptians. And there we go. That one has to be the deciding goal for the 2031 African Cup of Nations. I thought we'd win it the first time round, and to be fair, Tunisia made us struggle. If you remember that far back, we were absolutely gutted with what happened. Absolutely gutted. But Hussein Said has been unbelievable throughout this entire AFCON. He's actually performed how you'd expect him to perform, and we now find ourselves 3-1 up in the final. Samuel to Musa, lovely challenge from Khalifa, and there we go, the clock begins to tick. And really, you know, the Nigerians have only had one shot on target, and it was their goal, which in a way kind of sums up some of the luck we've had over the years managing Egypt. I think we've done really well in terms of managing Egypt. You know, when we first inherited a lot of these players who were... Oh, go on. Oh, Hamdi. But when we first inherited a lot of these players, they were young, naive, still growing. And here we are with the average age of our squad at like 28, with the odd youngster here and there. And, you know, we've had some special youngsters come through during my reign as the Egyptian manager. And obviously I say during my reign as the Egyptian manager, because after winning this, we are now going to resign because we have nothing else to do in Africa, right? So, yeah, so during my reign, we've seen players like Rida Hamdi, who just missed that sitter. Definitely a part of my management, that. We've seen Islam Sabir, you know, come into the side and really make a difference as a super sub. In a way, I kind of feel sorry for him because he had that game in the group stages where he scored 2 goals and should have really got a hat-trick if we'd given him the penalty, and he's not featured since. But I think the fact that he featured in at least one game and started one game means that he does get a medal. So he was part of the squad. And, you know, we really have built something special. We built the strongest team in Africa without a shadow of a doubt. And I really did feel like if we didn't manage to pull it off this African Cup of Nations, it would have been a transition period after this because of the ages of some of our players. But they're more experienced now. Good mixture of youth and experience, and I'm just over the moon that we've managed to, you know, stick the pharaohs on their thrones. And there we go. I can't actually remember if we saw this when we were managing Japan, but, you know, a bit of a dance and all that, because that's totally what Football Manager needs, isn't it? You know, out of all the gazillion things I can think, Football Manager would probably benefit from. I've got to be honest, it's probably not that, but we dominated the game. We did actually play Nigeria about a year ago in a friendly and won 1-0. So there we go. We have to be passionate with the boys, and we did it in the end. We have won the African Cup of Nations 2031. So interestingly enough, actually, Hussein Said still won't win the Golden Boot or whatever they have because Okechuwu, who's part obviously of that Nigerian side, scored more goals than he did. So even that goal that he got in the final, Hussein Said, still wasn't enough to put him top of the charts. But our 2 key talismen, you know, Ahmed Al-Sayed and Adil Ramzi, both top in the assist chart. 6 assists for Ahmed Al-Sayed, 4 for Adil Ramzi. Without them, there's no way Said would have been able to be as efficient as he was as a poacher. But there we go. 2031, we've won the African Cup of Nations, and there we go. We lift the African Cup of Nations. I am making history at Egypt, but unfortunately, I'm now gonna resign, and you know, obviously the Egyptian FA don't want to get rid of us. And I think now we've got to take a cheeky look at where that leaves our profile. So I don't know if you can notice that, but we have actually gotten a bit of a small boost. I think in the last episode we were 2 3/4 reputation wise, and we are now a full 3 stars. So hopefully that will help us when it comes to finding our next job. And in terms of the next job that we take, a part of me is really tempted to just wait it out until I can manage New Zealand, because I feel like that would be a really easy 3rd bit of silverware. But you know how it is, you just wait to see what pops up and then you just take the job. I don't think I'm going to apply anywhere in Europe. The Euros are in a few years, so I mean it's possible, but I think I'd only really apply for massive European jobs like France or Germany or someone like that, and I think there's better candidates for them jobs than me. So My gut feeling tells me our next point of call will probably be South America. I don't know why, I just do. Let me know where you think I should try and go, bearing in mind that we have a 3-star reputation now. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Massive shout out to everyone who's actually stuck through the series, stuck through the journey so far. It is a massive pain in the backside, but this is what Football Manager is for. It's these massive saves, right? But yeah, thanks for watching.